first day back, start with a clean slate and it's nice to have nothing. And even this shit needs to all be like cleaned out and figure out where my colors are again. I mean, there's always got to be day one, right? I think the scary thing is like standing before you even have painting one, right? And thinking, okay, like 10 is like a good estimate. And I don't even have painting one yet. Like, where's the show going, right? Like, what is a show in London? And actually, my last show in London was 2 years ago. It'll be almost 2 years to the date. But I guess without talking too much about what this new show is going to be like, because I have no idea, just the idea of coming in here is like, yeah, it's intimidating for me. Like when I leave, I typically leave it and then I forget about it and I don't remember what it's like when I come back in. So I come back in and there's kind of all these surprises and sometimes I leave it really clean and sometimes there's shit everywhere. But I mean, like, there's no point to a studio unless there's art in it, right? So when the art is all gone, when the art leaves, because it's done and you finally package it up, that's really exciting. But then when you fast forward another month and come back and there's this pressure on just to start creating new work, like that, which is where we are now. Like, where do you go, right? It's weird, like it's lonely, it's ghostly in here. So we need to get some canvases on the walls and, you know, a white canvas is an exciting thing because in equal measure, a white canvas is a shitty painting and a brilliant painting at the same time. It can go either way. And I often say like my two favorite times are at the end of a show when you know you're done and you sort of put your brush down and look and do that big exhale and say, wow, that's the show. And conversely, the other favorite time, for totally opposite reason, because it's actually terrifying, is when I unroll that big roll of canvas, that white canvas, put it on the wall, and just it's the big dive in.
We've worked with Andrew Salgado for the last since 2008. Internationally, he's doing something that really speaks to the heart of, I think, what people are looking for. He wouldn't consider himself a portrait artist, but he borders this line between portraiture and perhaps abstraction with a real mastery of applying paint to canvas.
Okay, good. So what do we do now?
Just gotta wait.
Okay. When I first applied for master's degrees, I got accepted to Parsons, New York, and I got accepted into Chelsea. And I chose Chelsea because it was further away. And it was different from like this North American convention. Because what I thought was, if I'm going to go to school, I want to unlearn what I'm learning. And actually, what I always say about Chelsea is, if you think of your art craft as an egg, if you think of that, a lot of schools, I think around the world, polish that egg. And what I felt Chelsea did was throw it on the ground and smash my egg, and I had to pick up the pieces. Which, you know, I did learn some things, but I think I learned more about myself and about how to like be resourceful and be resilient and teach myself than I actually learned anything about actual studio practice or living and surviving as an artist in London. I often say that being an artist is the only thing that actually defines who I am, right? I'm gay, does that define me? No. I'm half Mexican, does that define me? No. I'm Canadian, does that define me? Not really. I'm not that partisan. The only thing that defines me, that without which I'm actually anonymous, is the fact that I'm an artist, because that to me that defines who Andrew Salgado is. The artist is the only thing that is truly inherent to how I determine how I dictate my life.
I got two. I can bring you 50. Yeah, I'll bring you 50 for tomorrow.
Okay. Not in some sort of like pseudo gimmicky way, but in the sense that this is my career. I come to work. It determines who I am as a person and how I exist and what I do and where I do it and how I do it. So the fact that we're in here right now and like anything can happen, It's kind of spooky for me because like nothing's happening right now. So I'm sort of like an anti-person, I suppose. Like wandering around drinking too much wine during the daytime and with nothing to do. I've taken like a month off and I didn't want to think about any of the work that I'd be doing. I didn't want to think about the show because I think I needed to like purge my mind of all these ideas. And then I figured when I came back, like now, that's when I would start to generate the ideas. And so they're kind of thin right now, to be honest. But typically the first thing I do is start with subjects. So if I can get some people in here to start painting, that will kind of inform itself.
I met Andrew, we just got chatting and he said that he wanted to paint me. I took his card, didn't really think that much of it. And then I Googled him and saw some of the images and I recognised them straight away from the windows he did at Harvey Nichols. Give him a text and said I'd looked at his stuff and I was like, yeah, I'd be honoured to, I'd love to. Went in, had a chat, just like getting to know each other and things like this, talking about our days. He does it by photograph, he was taking photographs. But as soon as he picks up the camera, then he just kind of, you can see the cogs turn and he just switches off and doesn't really talk very much then. Wanders around me, took some photos, asked me to this and this. And he knew what he wanted straight away. I think he's done around 8 paintings with me now. He just said he thought I was interesting.
Bought one of his paintings from his first collection and liked his work. He actually asked if I would pose for his one of his paintings, and I was a bit dubious about it. Because I don't really like being photographed and things like that, so I said I'd do it. And so I went to his studio and he took lots of pictures. I sort of saw it in different stages. Then I didn't see it for a while. Then I saw it in New York where he'd changed it again. It's almost 2 meters square. This thing's huge. And to come face to face with yourself that big, and I just sat there. But the more you looked at it, the more in depth it was, and you realise how much work, where you can see that he overpaints and overpaints, and you can see that the depth, and that's what gave it the life. You know, I was flattered in some respect, but he wasn't very flattering. Let's put it that way. He just did it exactly like me.
I've known Andrew for about 6 years, and I think I contacted him when I saw his work online. I just wrote to him and I asked if he'd consider doing a commission, because I was just really impressed with his work. The first one I commissioned was the one of myself. I know that sounds a little bit egocentric, but I've been doing this kind of rolling, almost like a diary, this collection of portraits of myself. It's now so embarrassing to admit that. But over the years, since I was 14, I've got something like 35 now. And so I was hoping that when I'm a wizened old man at 75, I'll have an exhibition of my ascent and decay through the eyes of other people. And of course, Andrew was someone I asked to do this.
And then just head like this and tilt it like that. Nice. Head toward me a tiny bit more. Even less? Yeah. And eyes kind of from over here. Good. Perfect. Now let's try that right hand again. Up. Good. And keep this right hand nice and straight. Good. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Can you see that? Is that big enough for you guys? Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of the hand. I actually, and contrary to what I said where I wanted it frontal, I actually think the ones towards the end when she had a bit of a profile, I thought those were stronger. Interesting looking little thing, isn't she? I think there's this misconception with a lot of people that, you know, like the artist has a profound vision. He knows exactly what he's doing. He comes in and he executes it. I think a lot of other artists look at other artists and think that, you know, they know exactly. They just come in and just, you know, George slay the dragon, and that's certainly not, I don't think that's the case. This practice with coming back and putting the tube out or putting the paint back out and mixing the paint around, and you mix with the oil, and suddenly it's this sense of elation that starts to come over, which sounds like I'm talking bullshit, but it reminds me why and how I can spend all this time by myself alone in the studio and feel in a sort of perfunctory act, right? Like actually what I do is not all that exciting. Like the result is exciting, but the act is just, okay, paint, solvent, linseed, mix, apply, and repeat. But there's something really profound and in that perfunctory act. There's something satisfactory and I think the whole act of painting is sensuous. This was the first piece I started, actually, and it's the only image that I didn't take. I have a friend who started coming to the shows. He came to the New York show. I met him in Ottawa when I showed there 2 years ago. And he was clinically blind for most of his life and then started regaining his eyesight, and then has gotten it back and has become kind of like an amateur photographer. And he actually took the image that that painting's based on. And I asked him if I could use it. And his name's Bruce, so I call it Bruce's Vision. And so this piece is when you walk in the gallery, this is the first piece you see, which is I quite like it, but it's also very, it's quite a boring painting, but it's purposely boring, because it
means the rest of the show's open for interpretation, essentially.
Right, that was really conceptually important, that you come in and the first thing you see is the back of someone's head. You don't want the first painting to give away all your secrets. So this is under-promising, and the rest is what kind of evolves. And in terms of the story, or you want to call it the concept or whatever, I see it as though, in the same way that this painting was, for me, the first piece, started off the story. For the viewer, it's as though he's guiding you by the hand through the exhibition. And I'm really excited. I think a lot of people come in and not know how to read the work, because it's really different. I just really like the idea that you're walking into Salgado's quote-unquote portrait show, and the first portrait you have is the back of someone's head. That to me sets the tone right off the bat. Whatever you expect, don't expect it. For me, it's probably the first show where I feel every painting is brings something really different and really new. I don't know, that's about all I have to say right now. In 2008, at a music festival in Pemberton, BC, just outside of Vancouver, some guy approached me with a bunch of friends and started throwing some slurs at me. And I don't know, my father's stand up for yourself, right? And I think maybe growing up it was enough of a soft spot, and we'd all been called faggots and homos enough growing up that it just struck a chord. And I had been drinking a little bit, and I was and he was this, short little shit. And basically I started talking to this guy, or defending myself, which I believe I was totally entitled to. And he punched me in the face, and it was, I guess, a lucky hit in the sense that two of my front teeth just popped out. And I was made to feel really guilty by my friends because I had been drinking, or I was made to feel really bad because I had answered back to this guy when I should have just walked away. My brother said, well, what the fuck did you do? Because nobody picks a fight with somebody, blah, 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 blah. And I turned to my brother and I said, you know what, you'll never understand what it feels like to be hated for something you have no control over. Prior to that, I did all kinds of artwork, but then that really anchored me and gave me a political stance, in the sense that I felt I have something to say. I knew that art could be used as a weapon, in the sense that it can be a really powerful tool.
There's been exponential growth in so many ways. And I think that even, and perhaps most profoundly, was that at the time we started representing him, there was a personal incident in his life that was quite a dark moment. And he was reflecting and he was pouring out, he was dealing with that issue on the canvas.
I'm into these contour lines, like a thick outline. And I try to pretend it's because I am into Chauvin, who's a modernist painter, but I think it has to do with the fact that I was raised on Batman comics. And like that way of drawing, I used to redraw them myself, and I used to have these sketchbooks of it.
What's happened since then, and I think as he finally addressed the personal issues that he was going through at the time, dealt with that, he was able to literally close that chapter. He said, Curtis, I've dealt with it. I'm over it, I'm past it, and I have to now reflect that in my work.
I've never been attracted to things that are in an artistic sense, I've not been attracted to things that are really bright and happy because, I don't know why. I just like that atmospheric quality that comes with darker stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm inherently like a dark, sad person. I have no idea. Somebody said that the work is still as intense, but it's not as like upsetting. But I mean, as you guys know, I suffer from depression. I had I had a hate crime assault. Certainly it's gotten a lot lighter. Me as a person, I'm a lot lighter. I find consolation in art. Eyes and head toward me a tiny bit, and then this hand is kind of without space. Yeah, good, even like that. What do you think about the cape? Is it?
I think we should try some without the cape as well.
Let's pull this back so we get just this nice curl, and then pull this a bit back. And then lift your head a tiny bit, because right now, yeah, good, great. That is so nice, Jesus. Head towards me a bit. Up a tiny bit, and then kick your elbow up just so I can see it. Perfect, amazing. And then this hand, I just want to see those fingers, so I have something to paint, good. You're a fucking superstar. Thank you. Awesome, awesome. I'm so excited about these. I'm really excited about these. So we took 276 photos with Theo today. Like I said, sometimes I do this big long short list and stuff like that, but other times I just sort of grab what looks right. Like I just see an image right off the bat and it's just an instant gut reaction. I just go, that's it. This is too, I don't like this, it's too guarded. This one.
It's a privileged relationship that I have with Andrew, very much an open door policy on both ways. So when he needs critique, he's going to get honest critique from me to the fullest extent. When I have feedback to provide or issues with how a show is shaping up, how a specific painting is emerging, I feel free to say that to him.
Frame a little more along the side of the head, just to have that. And then again, those shapes are...
I feel like his head is a bit too high or something as well. It needs to be cropped like this. And then I was just thinking of taking a dark color and doing this, but then I thought the brown was warm.
I like the color.
Like I thought it was like too much of a peachy brown. The Roman numerals I think have to go because I think it's making a big distraction. It needs to be resolved in the same way that
You can resolve it today. And I don't think there's a lot that has to be done, and I'm scared that you're gonna.
No, because right now I'm pushing it back. I'm making it more subtle. I'm not adding to it. I'm actually taking away from it.
Anyway, I think you can resolve it easily. I think it's great painting. I think it'd be a really strong painting. So get cracking. Ready? Good.
I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like this green. I don't.
The color choices are brave in this one. I think that the green and the beige. Actually
Okay, but I have to fix. What's happening is I need to be
Resolve.
decisive. I need to be decisive, and I have to fix it. Like this got fussy. This got really fussy. I need to go in with a fucking bold color choice, a bold brush, and just fucking fix it.
Yeah.
Like his gut looks really nice here because it's like there's boom, just a mark, boom, just a mark. So it makes sense. Where it looks washy is where I'm like fapping around, fucking doing nothing, right? Like this is nice. The hand is nice. This area and this area just got
overworked.
it just got fussy because there's too much good in the painting to let it. I feel there's too much
Absolutely.
good potential in the painting to have it just not, be resolved.
Good.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do it.